Okay, I'm currently on vacation with Michael's family, and yes, I'm using a Q-tip. I know they're not good for your ears, but they feel so good. Anyway, I'm on vacation with Michael's family, and this thought was really fresh in my mind, so I wanted to share it while it's top of mind. I am currently on a New Year's trip with Michael's family, and we're having such a great time. You know, it's Michael's parents, his sister, her fiance, and then of course Milo, and me and Michael. And I just was doing a lot of thinking going into the trip. You know, I had expectations of what the trip was going to feel like to be on a family vacation. And my brain kind of told me that the trip was going to feel similar to previous trips we've taken with Michael's family, because we often do this around the new year, and we've traveled to a lot of places together, and it's always extremely recharging and rejuvenating and relaxing. And my brain just sort of told me that that is how this trip was going to feel. I didn't take into account the fact that it was our first trip like this with a baby. Needless to say, I was in for a rude awakening, and although the trip has been fulfilling and incredible to like see Milo explore and see so many new things, it has been, you know, harder for me to wrap my brain around the fact that traveling, actually in many ways, traveling with a baby feels like more work, mental work and physical work, than just staying at home and not going anywhere. And it's supposed to be a vacation, so like my brain is telling me that I should be relaxing and recharging, and I'm like consciously carving out those times for myself. And Michael's family is so hands-on and so helpful that they are, you know, kind of pushing me to like go to the gym, and Michael's mom got me a massage, and like they're helping me get out so that we can have a little bit of a vacation element even though we are on this trip. It was just eye-opening to me that like as a new parent, vacationing with your kid is just not the same vacation that you're used to and that you maybe had before you had a kid. I got an article sent to me from Michael's cousin from the Huffington Post. I will link it for you below, but it's basically an article about the difference between a trip and a vacation. And it kind of says like, follow this guide to see if you're going on a trip or a vacation, because you need to set your expectations accordingly. Otherwise, you might like take out your frustrations on your partner, who is probably feeling equally as confused and swindled about the whole situation as you are. It was really helpful. And basically, if you're traveling with your children, if you're with family, if you're going to somewhere where there's a kitchen and you need to do the dishes, if you are, I don't know, any situation that's not sitting on the beach and being served strawberry daiquiris is a trip. The other is a vacation. And you know, Michael and I did take a vacation earlier this year. We went to Turks and Caicos together, the two of us. We left Milo behind with Michael's parents. We had a lovely vacation. That was a true vacation. And it was our first time being away from Milo like that. But it just made us realize that we need to do more of that, because we want to do a lot of this type of trip where we're making memories with the family and traveling with kids. We want to take a lot of trips with our kids, but we need to make sure that we are also going away, the two of us, and getting away and unplugging, because in a lot of ways, I heard this too, and I agree with it. In a lot of ways, being with your kids, especially if you're like the default parent, or if you frequently care for the child, like if you are a stay-at-home mom or like a full-time parent, then that's a weird term. Everyone's a full-time parent. No matter what, if you're the default parent, oftentimes going on vacation with your kids is almost, it's not just a trip, it's like a work trip, because you are working, and it is a lot of work. Not trying to scare anyone out of having children at all. It's the most amazing, magical thing in the world, but there are obviously aspects that I'm still getting used to, and I really wanted to share that with YouTube, so I'm glad I turned on my camera, aka my phone.
I know that the lighting is horrible and that this is just not a good spot to vlog in, but I'm packing up for an upcoming trip that I'm taking for another wedding. And as I was packing, I had all these thoughts of so many things that I wanted to turn on my camera and tell you about. Just a few things that have happened in my personal life recently that really irked me, and just things that I want to vent about. Like, that's what I like turning on my camera to do. And then I realized that all of these things are about people in my actual life that if they watched this vlog, they would know I was talking about them. When I really think about it, I don't know how influencers or content creators open up on the internet about negative parts of their lives without spilling out the dirty laundry about their loved ones. I don't know. I've just had a couple instances recently, like a couple friend things, a couple family things, where I've been annoyed and upset, and it's my first inclination to want to be honest with you guys that I'm annoyed or upset about something, and that, you know, share the situations with you. And I can't, because I know for a fact that some of these people watch my vlogs. So if you're watching and you think I was mad at you last week, I probably was. All right, back to packing.
The time has finally come. We're in Miami right now. We have a black tie wedding tonight, And I just think the time is finally here for me to wear that black gown that I initially tried on for the Cancun wedding. It was not fitting, I don't believe, for a sunrise wedding, but I think it's perfect for this occasion. So I'm just gonna quickly get myself showered and then we'll get in the dress. So I first bought this dress on Amazon, which I've never shopped on Amazon for gowns. I needed a cool dress for that sunrise wedding we had in Mexico, and I needed something to be delivered quickly. So I ordered this dress on Amazon and it came and I tried it on and I really liked the dress. However, it was not fitting for that wedding. I did have a lot of people telling me to keep it though, and I agree. I really liked it. I just needed the right occasion. And I think this is it. A black tie wedding in Miami. Brush, brush. This is the time when you can make it look like you got a nice sunburn, but you didn't actually. Sun-kissed. Okay, that's a little too much. I just started using eyelash curlers. I thought they didn't do anything, but they absolutely do. I'm getting ready in a flash. I've got to go. I think it's time to get in the dress. I'm putting blush on my shoulders. When you get burned in the sun, sometimes it happens on your collarbone, so I feel like that's a nice spot for blush. Brought these earrings so I could change out of my everyday pair. Okay, that is pretty. This would normally dry matte, but then I'm putting this Jower hydrating lip oil on top of it. Gold heels. I wore these last night and they kind of hurt my feet a little, but it's all I brought, so too bad. Thank you, Amazon. Time for the wedding.
Okay. Okay, great. Can you just tell her it's going to be my friend she's speaking to then?
She's
Getting the nurse to tell you.
Okay, I'm be going in here. Closing the door. I'm finding out the gender of Laura's baby right this moment. My heart is beating. Why is my heart beating like this is my own baby? Because it is. Okay, thank you so much. I'm trying not to react, but I'm very excited. I'm just about to leave for a 5-day, 4-night retreat with a couple of my friends who are also new moms, relatively new moms. They have babies just around the same age as Milo. The impetus of this retreat was really born out of the mental weight of motherhood. And I know I've spoken about this, bursting out. I know I've spoken about this a little bit on my Instagram, and I think I've probably mentioned it on YouTube before too. The fact is, we as mothers feel like a lot of the load of parenthood just naturally falls on our shoulders. And this is coming from someone who is in a partnership, like a relationship with a man who is an incredibly hands-on father and partner and does, quote, 50% of the work with our baby. What we've noticed is that even in relationships where the load is evenly distributed from one partner to the next, somehow the mother winds up carrying this mental weight that is, I don't want to be overgeneralizing, obviously every relationship's different, but the mental weight is sometimes heavier than the physical burden. Just so much to have in your head all at once. And there's a really great article on this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just go on Google and type in mental load comic and it will show up. I'll try to pop it in the description box. Long story short, my friends and I decided, you know what, we need a getaway. And I was so happy that my husband and my parents and my in-laws and basically everyone in my sphere and on my parenting team was pushing me to go and pushing me to do this and not giving me any ounce of regret or guilt. Not guilting me at all for going on this journey. And so we're going for 5 days and 4 nights to a little like jungle beach resort in Mexico, and I'm really excited for that. But here I am right now at the historic TWA airport in JFK. If you don't know what this is, it's like this landmark retro hotel that's based at the JFK airport in Terminal 5, and it is beautiful and really cool. And if you pay for certain types of rooms, then your room literally faces the runway, and as you're lying in bed you can watch planes taking off, and at night it's even really cool and they light it up. We are sleeping here tonight because our flight is super early tomorrow morning, and the last thing I wanted to do was like wake up at 4 a.m. for a meditative calming retreat. So we decided to sleep at the airport, buy ourselves maybe an hour or two in the morning. We could just kind of roll out of bed, take the shuttle to our terminal, and go and start the trip in kind of a calm space, not like in an hour-long Uber drive, hoping we get there in time. So I beat my friends to the hotel here, so I just took a shower. I'm just kind of like relaxing in the room for a little while, starting my trip. This trip is going to be a very minimal, simple trip for me. I brought very few articles of clothing. I brought my journal. You know, I just didn't bring a lot of stuff. I was trying to go very minimal in every way, in both like the skincare and makeup department and the clothes and just everything I brought. So we're traveling light. I'm very excited for this much needed getaway. I'm sure I will not be vlogging on this journey, but you know, I'll try to pick up my camera and show you the hotel because it is stunning. And the last time I went to this spot in Mexico, I tried to go visit this hotel and I wasn't allowed in because it's guests only. Waiting for my friends, gonna just brush my teeth, get in bed, lounge in a robe. It's the start of something new. I'm my rotator every night. Good night. I'm currently sitting in this sweat lodge. I just want to show you what it looks like. This is where I am. And yesterday we did an incredible Zampulce experience here. If you don't know what it is, I would just recommend you look into it because I'm probably going to misquote it, but an ancient experience where you are basically simulating the experience of being in Mother Earth's womb, and then you are reborn when you emerge. So you go inside this, I think it's called a temazcal, and it's basically like an igloo that is a dome with a little pool in the middle that has water, and then there's one door to crawl in from, and then one little window to vent the steam. And hot stones are placed in here by someone on the outside, and then we pour the water onto the stones, and there's blankets blocking that door and this door so that it's pitch dark in here, and the room gets like a sweat lodge, gets steamy and dark, and you can like taste the salt in the air and smell incense. I am a highly claustrophobic person, so I definitely had a minor panic attack during the first few minutes of it, but once I got past it and my eyes started to adjust to the dark, it was a very memorable and meaningful experience. So much so that I'm back here the next day to take you guys inside, because I just wanted to show you how beautiful it is in here and really like how special this experience was. So that's where we are. I know it's very echoey and I'm now gonna get out, but I'm glad I brought you in.
back from my trip to Mexico. I'm just gonna finish getting ready in the bathroom, so let me just put you here. That is a really bad spot. Hold on. I'm back in my apartment after a 4-night, 5-day trip to Mexico with a couple of my friends. My vision for what this trip was going to be was just like very relaxing, meditative, and spa heavy. We did not join any sort of formalized retreat. Rather, I use the word DIY because we actually just went to this hotel in Tulum that had a bunch of services that were offered, and we sort of like pieced services together to create our own 4-night retreat at the hotel. But what ended up happening, just by nature of the services that we selected, was that we wound up going on an incredibly spiritual, emotional retreat. Energy cleanses and healing tribal ceremonies, Mayan sweat lodge. We did a cacao ceremony. There was like a lot of spiritual elements to it that I didn't necessarily expect, but it was just exactly what I needed. Let me bring you into the bedroom while I get ready for the day. But I'm home now. I have a lot of emails to catch up on. Hold on. A decent number of things that I have to do. I know you're in such a weird spot because I just like pile all my blankets up here when I sleep. The retreat just wound up being very spiritual. There was tarot reading, a lot of meditation, energy cleanses, Reiki, reflexology and body work, private sessions with a shaman, connecting to Madre Tierra, Mother Earth, you know, feeling emotions inside of ourselves. And I think each of us kind of felt like a different reason for wanting to go on this retreat, but we all are new moms, and I will always remember crystallized in my brain the moment we booked this retreat and the moment we like put our credit cards out and paid. And it was the most hectic day. We were all just caught up in a whirlwind of work stress and motherhood stress, and our babies were like all screaming and crying and inconsolable together on the floor while we tried to put on Miss Rachel, but it was like an absolute mess in the room, and we were giving them puffs and the puffs were spilling everywhere and there was like puff dust flying everywhere, and we are off on the sides of the room with our computers trying to book the trip, and like the whole thing was just a representation of our brains and how badly we actually needed the trip. And of course, as we're trying to select the credit card information, our credit cards were being declined, and we just kept persisting and being like, we need to go on this trip, we need to go on this trip. It was pretty wild, and by the time we booked the trip, we were just like, we need this so badly right now. When we got to the trip though, funnily enough, like the experience of being moms, of being new moms, was not really kind of the biggest thing at the forefront of each of our minds. I think each of us had our own personal existential stuff that we were thinking about, and by existential, I don't necessarily mean existential. That was not the right word. But we each just had our own personal journey that we were on. I think the thing about being a new mom is that you really do rarely get the time to focus on those personal things, whatever you need to work through yourself, because your day is just a rigid schedule, nonstop. It's kind of like Groundhog Day when it's with a baby every day over here. You know, you wake up, same schedule, no matter what time you went to bed, you got to wake up when the baby wakes up, and you start the day, and then there's the nap schedule and the early dinner schedule, bath time, bedtime, boom, then you're tired. There's not a lot of time in a day, even on the weekends, to do that work for yourself. So we just set aside this 4-day period to go away, and I feel overjoyed. We continue to talk now that we're home just about how meaningful the experience was for us and how grateful we are to have had it. And it just like opened up in me this desire to make sure that I force myself to do stuff like that throughout my life, and also that I really pushed Michael to do the same for himself, because even if you don't think you need it, it's like magical time knowing that your baby is being cared for. So of course I understand the immense privilege that comes with being able to do that, both financially, being able to travel like that, but also having a support team at home that I'm feeling comfortable leaving my baby with. If you have friends and family that you can rely on, just don't be afraid to ask them to support you and help you so that you can step away. And even if you aren't going on a vacation, you know, traveling on a flight across to a beach, even just giving yourself that time to like retreat at home and allowing your baby to be cared for by other people. It's like, it takes a village, it really does, and ask for help and accept help from other people. Anyway, I'm home now, and I'm just like doing those classic at home getting ready to reintegrate into real life activities. A lot of cleaning, a lot of meal prep, putting my life together, and just getting things back in order to be a New Yorker again. Let's make my bed. Time for coffee. Surprisingly, the coffee that I had on this trip was not nearly as good as the coffee that I have at home. My morning iced coffee the first day came with no ice in it. I think it was because they like poured hot coffee into ice and so it melted, and when it came to me it looked like a beer, almost like a mixture between a beer and a iced tea, and it was very light and it had a little layer of foam on the top, and it just didn't taste the way this coffee we drink at home tastes. And then the next couple of days I got hot coffee because I just wanted it to be stronger and I didn't want the ice to melt and make it weaker, and it just wasn't even stronger. So I don't know, I'm very happy to have my coffee back at home because this coffee we drink is delectable. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the hotel we stayed at. I shared some clips and photos of it on my Instagram, and it's an absolutely stunning jungle architectural dream of a resort. The name is called Azulik, and I thought it was an absolutely stunning, magical, mystical place. One of the most architecturally incredible places I've ever seen. Looks like the entire place is just hand built with wood and like sticks, and there's huts everywhere, and you walk on logs to your room, and the logs are all raised through the jungle. It's like a treehouse resort, upscale while still being grounded and simple. I don't know how to describe that, but it feels like you're at a luxury hotel. However, it's just very basic, simple, natural beauty. We knew before we got there that this was like an eco lodge type of hotel where we were told there's no electricity in the rooms, meaning no lights. However, they do have an outlet. We were told that there's no shower in the room and there's just a tub. And we were told that there's no air conditioning. I was in Mexico the month before for a wedding, and just the heat and humidity was wild. And I remember the feeling of coming back to the room at the end of the night and being in the air conditioning and how lovely that was. And I was a little nervous, to be honest, about going to a place where all night you're just in the sticky hotness and you don't ever get that cool AC feeling. And we were also 3 girls staying in one room. They didn't have any rollaway beds or cots, so we were all sleeping in one king bed. And it was a big king bed, like one of those really long king beds that's kind of short but long. So we all actually fit comfortably in the bed, but we were all sharing this one room. So we were also a little nervous about there being no shower and no like closed section, like the bath is just in the room. So we all had to get very comfortable with each other very quickly. When we got to the hotel, we were pleasantly surprised to find out that our room did actually have air conditioning. There was this big air conditioning unit right behind the bed, and it was blowing right over the bed. And right over the bed there was one of those like hoop bug net things that was surrounding the giant king bed. It was like a thicker bug net than you would think, and so it was actually trapping the cool air that was blowing right into it. Right above the bug net, like in the circle at the top, was a big fan that you could turn on that would literally just blast you down with fan air. We didn't even need that because the air conditioning was cold. So it was this really weird situation where like inside of the bug net was freezing cold and crisp, and the air felt really nice. And then the moment you'd go out of the bug net and like step off the bed, you were in the hot humidity of the jungle again. That was one thing we were pleasantly surprised about, and honestly, we all slept really comfortably. We all slept really cool. The way I like to sleep at home, I always sleep with a fan blowing on me here, so I slept really well while I was away, and I don't think I would have if there was no air conditioning. So I'm happy to say that. Shower issue, it wasn't really an issue for us because we were intentionally on this journey just to like retreat and relax, and we were not trying to look good. We wore absolutely no makeup the whole time. We didn't really care about how we looked going to dinner, so it wasn't like a standard vacation where you try to like wash up and get clean before dinner. If you're one of those people that like feels really gross when you don't shower, you will feel gross the entire time you're at this hotel. The spa does have showers, but the water did not get hot for us, and then even the tub in the room did not get hot. And I don't know about you, but like taking a cool tub, not my vibe. I need like a steaming hot shower or a burning hot tub. tub, it was really difficult to get and feel clean. I did a lot of like body cleansing, like just taking soap and a washcloth, and like that's how I cleaned myself for 4 days. And then the electricity was not really a problem for us. Like we brought a flashlight, and they also gave you this like globe light that sits in your room that you could plug in. And then they light candles around the room, which do provide you with light, but it's not very bright. What I did bring, which I was so grateful for, was an extension cord. And I plugged it into the one outlet that they give you. And then we then had like 6 or 7 outlets for 3 people's phones and, you know, other things we needed to plug in. What I will say is that this is definitely more of either a romantic retreat for like 2 nights type of getaway, if you just like want to be with your partner with no electricity and in like a jungle bed, or it's the type of thing we did where you can go for a longer period of time, but you just have to accept that you're not going to feel clean and it's not like a luxury hotel experience. Overall though, we had the world's best time. Like we got so close to each other, and I would go back in a heartbeat. I would go back. So that's it. I'm just gonna spend some time cleaning and taking care of some things at home today and doing a little bit of work. Talk to you soon. Bye.